and you see so dear students, please write me if you see my presentation, if all okay. Write in chat. You can do this, or can tell that all okay, you see my presentation. So it's presentation for the first lectures. First topic today, man as element of system, environmental system, and we discuss some biological processes of our activity. But the first, it's need to understand what is this life safety. Life safety is such type of branch of science knowledge. It's connection with the different type approach to study our type of security in the difference heavy human activity spheres. So it's a workplace, our leisure, life general. Thus, discipline shall review different type of dangers, and we tell today about some of these dangers. And some type of different hazard situation and technologies of protection human life and health. So it's all of connection with life safety. About some dictionary, we have different step definitions that using for the first dangers, safety, security, vitality. Vitality of activity, human activity. So it's a capacity of several of the continuous, mindful, and purpose existence of person in the great human very activity change environmental. And we now have a lot of technogenic impacts and its influence of our life in general. We have new types of dangers that connection with our activities. If in animals have different type natural dangers impact the first all. Soon when grows human activity, we have a very intensive growth human-made impact and factors of dangers. So dangers is defined as a possibility that something harmful or unpleasant will happen that causes harm. So it's a very general definition. Of course, we can tell about harmful factor and dangerous factors and thinking between difference what is mean dangerous factor and harmful factors. Please thinking about this, and if you have some idea, please write me on chat. Safety is a condition of already causing of feeling hurt, injury, or loss. So it's some processes in some areas, medium that safety connection with some of physiological, comfortable, suitable for person occurring, and especially we can tell about safety in different industrial object, in different workplaces, or general in safety in streets, and it's called safety city. Yes, so it's some very important. Task of municipality, the government, protection, health people, and that we can tell about safety areas. And especially the aim of the discipline is to provide students with modern knowledge on general regulation of origin and development, different type of dangers, different type of harmful factors, and how we can protect our life. So we must understand in the impact, quality, of possible influence of the health, and of course analyzes risk. Of different type of dangers, and then have some skills necessary to protection our life. The object is a complexes of human life processes, multifaceted processes of human life, human activity, and subject is some different type of measures protection of individual, society, general human life protection. So it can be tell that subject of this course or the organization of safety management that can be include a different type of regulation system of technical safety management, organizational measures, different step preventing measures, and it's a lot of protection systems that can be used. So we now come to the first topic, a man as element of the system and environment. Especially I think you understand very deeply that our body, our biological function is very close to connection with environmental that exist and when we activity do our different type of activities. We have start plan to this lecture, man as biological and society subject, physiological features of man organization, substance and energy exchange, physiological features of man, and of course some type of biorism. Alone, it's biological clock in other definition, and how it influences for our visual activity. It's very interesting topic. So we discuss some moments. About similarity of man and animals is determined by composite and substance, some structures are conducted of organisms, some elementary function. Man still has rudimentary organs, and but it's not necessary for humans. So we have some moments that connection. But then anything, then other species has characteristic of corporal cell, high developing brain. Yes, so it's very important to the work. Consequences, ability to stay being aware of external objects, so that and language. So we have a very important type of our definitions that can help in our life. And those aspects influence and the most important difference between man and animality consists in the way of life. So about animals' life in natural way, existence, man lives in society, visual activity. I think its factors influence very well to our level of safety and influence for forming different type of dangers, of course. In this way, we can tell about necessary divided into groups, primary, for example, physiologically existence, some acquired, more associated, different type personality, spiritual, needing. So it's connected with some Maslow motivation model with our needs that have growth in our life, in especially life in society, yes, visual activity connection. Then we have some more basic needs, and soon it grows in for some transcendence meeting needs that connection with our position in the society, different type of experience, practicals, cultural aspect, art, and creating some new processes, products. So it's mostly a new type of needs, and it's not physiological natural needs. Another aspect in and type that we need to analyze in our life, it's using our biological analysis. This biological analysis help to protection our health, or help to orientation in the environmental, and it's very important to understand how these basic receptors work. Analysis are totally interactive formations, peripheral and central nervous system, which carry out perception and analysis of information of the phenomenon which take place in the environmental or maybe in to organism. So it's structure you can see on the slide. Please see more detailization of the structures in the literature references, and now we tell about the location of the basic receptors. Mechanical receptors, photoreceptors, thermal receptors, and chemical receptors. If you see all of these receptors be used in every time in our life activity, it's very important to orientation in this environmental, and all of these receptors forming one complex, one unit that help protect our health also and developing. So classification of external receptors. Modality visual sense, for example, it's eyes location of receptors, information perceived, light, motion, color, size. So all of these receptors that you see on the tab we use in every time, and you can tell I think a lot of these receptors more than I, yes, as it's medical sphere, and of course, these receptors we use for our protection. Properties of analysis is some general properties that we can tell. Extreme high sensitivities, yes, for irritants, some present observe, absolutely different operation limit and of sensitivity for the irritant, and the possibility to adaptation. It's very important properties of analysis, adaptation to level of irritants intensity, so possibility of training, analysis. It's also very important, and of course, cooperation. This analyzes each other, so it's important because we not the connected with we have general picture on environmental and we don't separate some feeling, so it's often use our eyes, our some test, our different possibility of skin tone, eyes, yes, together that analyze the situation across near our body, near us, so in the environmental. So it's very important to use these receptors and analysis together, forming a unit picture of environment. And the basic physiological law of Weber-Fechner. So it's two scientists, Weber and Fechner. So they have such proposed formula. We see it's very easy formula that goes first is between some minimal odd increase of the irritant intensity and actual intensity of the initial volume of the irritant. So it's two type of parameters used for estimation, and the other intensity or strength of feeling is connection with this constant. It's sometimes called proportional erosion, is permanent for determination of irritants and intensity of certain irritant. Intensity can be dimensioned if such irritant have some dangers for our life, for example. So level of irritant can be harmful in fact, and we can see this, for example, on some sound. You know about noise pollution, and level of sound can affect on our health, a negative effect. And very important to determination how our body communication with environmental adaptation to different type of change in environmental, and on these processes influence homeostasis. Homeostasis is a maintenance of dynamic equilibrium, which the natural system by tendency to compensate of disrupting change. So it's sort of processes, biological chemical processes that cause it in our organism, and can adaptation for some changing. And it's very important for our life, and you can see example of homeostasis and temperature control. Yeah. And we see how normal body temperature, how it's can some regulated and regulated impact on our nervous system, how it's influence of a different condition in our body, muscular activity, general body heat, how it's off of these activities, this function elements can provide general some constant condition in our body. So it's some example of the homeostasis controlling, which include temperature controlling. And the homeostasis mechanism can have four main characteristics. First of all, it's self-regulating, compensatory effects, the chance to do regularity by negative feedback system and requires several feedbacks mechanism. So it's need to understand forming some physiological balance. All of this process in influence for constant physiological processes, and we often in them tell about biological processes, mention the substance exchange in a cell. And I think you know about this exchange, flexible exchange, assimilation, anabolism, yes, a flexible exchange, the totality of bus into this reaction, which carry out with the absorption of energy, and energetic exchange, dissimilation, catabolism, the total of substance play in reaction with the release of the energy. So each two processes that complete each other in cells. Yes, and in our organism, it's very important to provide very good function of our organs, and you can see that for the normal function of organism, the daily reaction should include different type of nutrients. Yes, and these nutrients influence um, uh, for our health, for quality and quality of food. It's very important in our life, and some dangers that can be. So please listen. And we tell about impact some daily ration for our health, and harmful factors it should be mentioned. So I see some person have sound. Please check your all gadget. And about this type of nutrients, mineral substance, vitamins, water, their ration, its impact on our health, and under this we have understand what type of harmful effect influence of our life, and can we protect our health under this effect. Especially you see in the supermarkets different products, but not all products is useful for our health. Some products have unfortunately very harmful impact, and we need to understand what ration of nutrients we have, and how it's impact of function of our organ and general of our organism. So basic some of nutrients, organic matter you see, and mineral matter you see on this table, and its function. For example, protein, building, transporting, protection, and motive power, so different type of function, and you see the example of product that this nutrients includes. And a lot of different type of products. It's mostly natural products. So it's need to completely understand some function of the nutrients, and how impact on our visual activity, and can influence to growth of level of different healing processes, yes, in our body, if we don't have enough of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals elements in our ration daily food. So especially noting about different type of mineral, magnesium, calcium, potassium, yes, sodium, so phosphorus. Uh, it's really important for our organism in some dosage, and this dosage um, can conducted with growth organism in children time. It's other type of dosage in more older people. We have other limited dosage of these elements. So it's a type of connection how our balance, physiological balance, homeostasis, how our different type of reaction in body from cell to organism in general can influence for our adaptation, for our activity in the environment. Yes, it's very important. And the next that I want to show you uh, physiological features of man. It's type of reflexes that we use. Of course, I think you know about unconditional and conditional reflexes related with different reaction of our organism. If we tell about unconditional reflexes, related constant stereotypical reaction of organism and influence of external of internal environmental, and it's required no special condition for the occurrence. And I think you know about such scientists. Pavel Ivan Pavlovich Pavlov. They study a lot of the unconditional, conditional reflexes and introductions is definition to and its mean designed reflexes that occur in unconditional under the action of appropriated stimuli of the sensory nerve and details receptors. Yes, and you see the pictures that how reaction of dog because his experiments conducted with some time and to provide some factors that connection with processes of technique of dogs. So it's for example sound and this reaction when he has sounds it's thinking about food, so it's some of causes salivation. So it's interesting processes how it can be a combination different factors and influence for our conditional response from unconditional to conditional response, especially notion about conditional reflexes. Some of specific features of conditional reflexes. Of course, it's individual current system adaptation reaction of organisms to some changes in the environmental, and with help of the conditional reflexes mechanism, such function of nervous system of progress behavior, personal and environmental and society adaptation function. It's very important adaptation function in environmental. So, of course, state of conditioned reflexes activity. We see mechanism, condition, state. For the first state of the generation of conditional reflexes, formation of temporary communication on the brain contracts and the supracortical centers. And it's the first time with the next station of specialization of the conditional reflexes, difference in breaking. So and inhibition of the conditional reflexes, security braking, conditional brake, and later braking. So it's a type, I think, as you have that knowledge in the biological sciences, and you know about conditional and unconditional reflexes. And it should be noted about differences of conditional and unconditional reflexes. You can see so uh, properties, for example, irritant, unconditional reflexes, direct, adequate irritant, conditional, direct irritation, etc. So it's a type. If we see about, for example, the central part of reflexive arch, it is unconditional reflex connection with the spinal cord of a brainstem, cortical reflexes of unconditional reflex, and of course conditional reflexes, the brain cortex and subcortical nucleus. And if we tell about specialist, specific specialty in expresses or not expresses, some provide several of species is the unconditional reflexes. It's really have some connection species. The conditional reflexes provide some behavior and the higher nervous activity. This is some physiological features. Yes. So connection with our activity in our life, conditional reflexes. So it's most general differences between such type of reflexes and the next that can be tell about external incubation. Of course, sometimes it's impact of different type of dangers can be incurred. Of course, the pathological processes of strong irritation of propriation receptors of such a volume can influence on inhibition on many kind of external breaking of security breaking. So it's conducted, of course, with of our environmental that we provide our activity, and physiological importance of external inhibitors. Inhibitory processes act as a fortress protection cortical nerves from the outer world, and it's of course physiological features of external inhibition study Ivan Pavlov, and a lot of experimental studies, researches connection with analysis of such features. External inhibition promote restorative metabolic reserve and function of a nervous cell if they were exhausted by superfluous activity before. So it's a type of influence that we connection in our activity life, and the basic condition of development international breaking is absence of unconditional reinforcement after action, unconditional return. So it's most of all it's some of processes that we must analyze it when want to thinking to define some external effect of different type factors to our organism and how we can reflect through these factors. And these factors of these dangerous factors, harmful effects, it's often connection with biological processes in our body. And Ivan Pavlov classified the type of high nerval activity and nervous activity according to several attributes. You see the such type of high nervous activity can met. Strong unbalanced type characterized by predominance of existing over-inhibition. Strong well-balanced activity type. Strong well-balanced passive type, low mobility of nerve processes, and weak type, characterized by external weak development of both existence and inhibition. So all of this type of nervous system, nerve activity, high nerve activity. It's influence for our activity in life. So we have different type temperament, different type of high nervous activity, all each person. And for example, you can look for reaction of people with different type of temperament to the some one similar processes. Yes, similar situation, one similar situation, but different person have different reaction because it's connection with a type of temperament and a type of nervous activity system. Yes, you see situation not very good, of course, complete heart, but first person very aggressive reaction, very aggressive. The next person brown, yes, in the determination in color. It's a very passive, natural reaction. The next person, blue, yes, oh, it's cry, it's very depressive. Yes, and the last rows you see is just smile, joking, and very well. So we see how one situation, but very different reaction for person can be as conduction with our temperament, and of course this reaction can be provide some factor dangerous or harmful factors can be provided because you should understand that our reaction of our nervous system influence of the quality of our work and quality of our life. This reaction connection with feeling of our body and often different type of chronic disease can impacted on our emotion reaction and nervous system condition. So it's very interesting to learn about such a type of nervous system, of temperament, how it's impact of our organism, how it's impact of our environment, and this impact influence for quality of our life, our impact on our health, and adaptation for the changing environment. So it's type of influence of our life activity and safety of our life. The next that should be noted, the classification of type of high nervous activity according to the Ising's classification. Scientists Ising on the basis of customs of different type of temperaments was related to three personal parameters: extroversion or introversion, neuroticism, and psychotism. If we tell about introversion, extroversion, it's mean how it's provide connection with environmental. Extroversion is the most open person that tell us that very good communication with us. It have a lot of friends and a lot of different connection. Introversion is the most persons have internal medium. It's not needing a lot of communication, a lot of friends. It mostly have a strong connection between some person, but it's not a lot. And they have other type of communication with in environment. Especially if we tell about neurotic person, neurotics, a high irritable, has unbalanced emotion status. So it's very actual, very high level of reaction for the different process in the environmental. Fear psychotic person is a high egocentric, such type of most discussing of importance of social medium. Informant person temperament is very high. It's impacting of different factors, and sometimes it can be negative features provides under that type of nervous system. But of course, all of should be noted, all of these types can be mixed. It's most of all some features mixed under this type. And when we tell about high neurostic, low neurostic, extroversion, introversion, you can see this cycle, that connection between this type of nerve activities and a connection with temperament, choleric, sanguinic, phlegmatic, and melancholic. We see pictures, yes? Choleric, sanguinic, phlegmatic, and melancholic is the presence on the picture, this type of temperament, and now its connection with this type of nerve activities. And you see that, of course, it can be mixed. Often we need not melancholic or sanguinic or choleric. We have mixes of this temperament, mixes of this type of nervous system activities, and have some mixed features. But sometimes we can meet persons that really have very strong dominate of this temperament. This can be domination of some of type of nerve system or type of temperaments. So it's a very important influence on our life. You can see in your environmental, your friends, your relatives, some persons that you connection, how it's reflected, how you have a connection, reaction for some difference, some similar situation, and in our life it's very have a big impact on our life, and some stress situation, reaction on the stress, yes, difference of type temperament have different type reaction of stress, and of course we see that our life have different factors of stress, and these factors of stress, of course, have a harmful effect. And if we work, for example, and our work connection with some very carefully processes, very high level of concentration process, yes, it can impact on our quality of work. And if we take some mistake, it can occur some accident. That accidents that be real dangers. So it's very close connection of all of the elements that in our body, in our nervous system, in the environment, how we connection with this all elements and processes, and our reaction. And we often see in traffic accident, industrial accident, the connection with human mistake, and this mistake connection with our stress level, our nervous system reaction, our factors of nerve activity, and of course know about these processes we can protection our body and protection our family and general do more safety environmental. So as you can think about what temperament you have in your mind, and different type interesting test can be found in internet that identify your temperament and type of nervous system, so you can more deeply analyze it yourself. The first, we must start from ourselves, and then analyze the as it is. It's very interesting and very useful in communication in the society, because sometimes we can have different conflict situation and watch this conflict cause it. Sometimes we think we don't want this conflict, but some reaction of person can be not in your mind, not adequate, but it's need to more deeply understand psychophysiological processes, processes in our nervous system, that understanding what's the reason of this conflict, and how we can find solutions, and it's very important for our daily activity, our visual activity in society. So it's that type of element, and you can see how we discovered our body, discovered our organism in the connection with life safety, and how it's a connection with environmental near us. And now we go to physiological features, and in its difference can be classified in attributes, in properties without which man cannot be. Yes, some constant parameters of some period. We have nationality, we have language, orientation, age, some temperament, health level of condition of our health, some character traits, strengths, properties, and qualities, properties, the difference condition depends of features of our body level, of our development. So it's can be discussed of these features, and the classification can be different. And now we go to some very interesting, in my mind, in my opinion, very interesting topic, a subtopic, the role of biorhythm in providing of the visual activity of man. And we see classification, groups of biological rhythm. I think you can write example of biological rhythm, because we often this read feeling, and in the medicine sphere, of course, it's used, and have a lot of knowledge about this biological rhythm. For example, rhythm of high frequency, yes, a period, have a period which does not exceed and half-hour interval. So, example, yes. Biological current of brain, biochemical reaction, contraction or reflex and cardiomuscle, breathing, yes. All processing of our body have some rhythm. A rhythm of middle frequency have a period from half of to 7 days. Sleeping, change of sleep and some activity and rest, daily metabolism change, temperature and blood pressure function, oscillation of blood composition. So all of these processes have frequency, I mean mild frequency, and frequency of low frequency. I have period from a quarter of month till on 1 year. a weekly, monthly, seasonal rhythm, endocrine change, so very important in our life. And I think all of processes in our organism are very important understanding his biological rhythm that we have. And you see in such slide, thus, of course, it's called biological clock. So our biological rhythm can be included in such unit. It's called biological clock, and we see a subtype of daily clock. And with time, that connection with some processes in our organism, with some of activity, metabolic activities, some system activities of our body. We see when we can have highest blood pressure or highest body temperature, or some other really, for example, secretion activities change it in daily, and different type of process in connection with secretion activities, of course, and deeply sleeping. The period of deeply sleeping is included on this type of biological clock, and different type of phases of sleeping. Yes, and we see that really this biological clock is very important for our health. We must understand that if we have internal impact for our body, we cannot, for example, sleep in the needing of our daily periods, or other type of activity changed and is destroyed. So it's influence for our biological rhythm, biological clock, and its impact can be negative and provide some illness processes. And of course, now it's really very interesting, and we can see its investigation in different institutes and scientists and research centers, how its impact of our organism biological clock, biological rhythm. And it's the investigation how we can use biological rhythm in different type of therapy, of medical treatment, and the next slide present, for example, some display of the 24 hours clock diagram of humans, approximated time in humans following of the general activity, sleeping routine, and symptomatic of diseases that have most frequency or worst. So diseases we see a difference of them type. Asthma, for example, some we say have some period of time of more frequency period in the biological clock activities of our daily presence. For example, some chronic pain and its influence. So this investigation very interesting, and we see so connection with biological rhythm and function of our biological clock with activities and frequency with disease. And in medicine therapies can be used when you correction some dosage of medical dosage, and use some period of time to treatment. That most effective treatment can be in some period of daily time. So it can be used, and it's interesting how it can be used. And if you want more deeply analyze these effects and how it's influenced biological rhythm on our life and our health, or how it's impact on medicine treatment, how it's impact of protection our health. You can of course read a lot of research publication, and I can show you a site that can be used for this type of understanding influence, how you can see you see my browser Scopus database. You can use for more deeply analyze this difference publication, research scientific publication, for provide information and for discover new information and interesting for you topic. And some moment, please. For example, if you see it's database, Scopus database, it's have access, free access in university, and you can to find different sources of research publication under this database that include various of research fields, and especially medicine fields, biological science, and you can see find interesting for you direction in this connection with our topic of lectures, with connection with topic of interest in medicine field, and under this processes you can find some interesting publication and analyzes some situation in the world, find under this research topic. It's very useful, and when you can do your reports, you can use this certain database, and when you in the next years you start in more deeply work, study in your topics, in medicine topics, of course you can use such a database and growth level of your knowledge in new tendencies, new trends, and new modern knowledge and new modern research experience in the world, because that database have a lot of publication, difference from different journals, that very high quality journals, and I thinking it can be useful for you. Analyzes the dates from this database. It should be noted that, of course, registration requires registration in this database, and especially in local net, in university, in should be, and you can um, access to this Scopus have provide as a student of this university, and if you want to use such a database in home or in some other place, not in university, it can be filled in some Google form and provide external access for this database. So it's can be possible because often when we tell about some topics that connection with modern knowledge, with some new research, it will be useful to deeply growth level of knowledge in these fields. Use Naukometric, science metric database that connection. You see different some specificities of documents, statistical dates includes, and level of citation, so it can be useful for analysis. It's a proposal. And especially if you have some question under lectures, you can now ask me, tell about your mind in, for example, biological clock. Maybe its topic is very interesting, can be for students. I think because in auditory lectures all the time, students tell about biological clock and how it's really impact on their life. If you want, you can now tell about this. So you have some questions or not? Please write or tell me, because I don't see your face. I only see my screen, so please write in chat or tell me your mind about biological clock, about topic that we discussed today and lecture, that I see your reaction. Okay, no question. Okay. So this topic you have in, can you please send the lectures to Mix for us to reviews? All lectures you have in Mix. Yes, you have in Mix all lectures. You need to read and check Mix system. I can show you some moment, please. Some moment, please. I show you. Our Mix system. I share other window. Yes. So you see, life safety, basic of bioethics and biosafety, our general course. Yes. Some moment. And you see lectures. Human life safety, object, man as element of the system, man and environment. Yes, and environmental. And these are lectures that I discovered and discussed today. together. Yes, so these lectures presents the most information and more deeply you can see some type of super items that includes lectures you have and not only this so you have all of the lectures present that we discuss on the online meetings. In online meetings, I can tell about some of the topics that include in general topic of the lecture. It can be such part of this topic. We can discuss more deeply some of these topics on the lectures in online meeting. And if you see plan of lectures, you have this topic. You can now do test and do practical task of the topic. So please do this two type of task. Yes, test and practical task. Practical task you send me, and test automatically this can be do. It's if you need a presentation, I can send you presentation, of course, using our mix system. Yes, I send you presentation, but please, you should be you need to read lectures on the system and do test on the system mix. Yes, and of course. Please write first practice and send me, of course. So this most important that you use this system, use mix system, use mix platform, read lectures, write practical task and do test. Yes, systematically. All estimation. And in online meeting, we discuss some interesting part of these lectures and some more deeply analyzes lectures materials that you have in mix system. Okay, so any questions? All you understand? You work in mix system? All okay? Yes, your adaptation to the mix system. Yes, you now know how it's work. You don't have questions. So please, some write if all okay, or tell because no questions. Okay. Okay, if no questions, if you all understand, if you, I hope satisfaction, yes, all okay. Please repeat. All right.
No question, madam. Understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. And now we finished our lectures. And please systematically do some task in the mix system. Yes, and I waiting first practical task that you send me. Okay. Okay. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. So we finished our lectures. Goodbye.